This is Lori Grenier. You've seen me on Shark Tank hearing pitches from small businesses. Now, there's a new way for small businesses to get a loan in minutes. It's called Cabbage. That's Cabbage with a K. Just fill out the application online. You'll get an instant decision and could have access to a line of credit of up to $100,000. No waiting, no hassle. Cabbage is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and is a Forbes Top 100 company. Go to Cabbage.com, that's Cabbage with a K, Kabbage, or call 888-CABBAGE.
The Pirates and Cardinals have the best two records in baseball, and they go head-to-head one final time this regular season. Could this be a preview of next week's division series? Coverage begins Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Welcome to Mike and Mike's Football Friday.
Gronk, he might be the biggest difference-making player in the NFL.
Outside of a quarterback, I would point to him. We keep talking about this distraction. I don't buy into it as much. Players are preparing. They don't have time to worry about who's at quarterback or not.
Football Friday.
What I love about the NFL. It's white-knuckle mash on the panic button right now.
Rob Lowe, who do you like?
I think this is the easiest pick we're looking at here, and I'm going with the Jets. I don't quite understand what's going on in Philadelphia right now.
It's Football Friday on Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Back and better than ever, Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. The Hall of Famer Cris Carter in studio on this Football Friday with his Subway Fresh Take. You heard Rob Lowe in there. He was our celebrity picker this morning. He picked the Jets, so I like it.
Loved your Jets, yeah. I said that was the easiest pick.
He likes the Ravens this week against Cincinnati. He likes the Colts this week to get back on the winning track against Tennessee. Good morning, CC.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Fine. And you know what's nice is you two guys, we're all three of us are dads, and we all have daughters, and both of you, your daughters are older than mine. I mentioned earlier, today's my daughter's 15th birthday, and getting a lot of very nice reaction and all that. People are very nice. And I tell you, both of you your daughters are grown-ups now, and man, it's hard. I will say that watching your daughter grow up is both the best thing that has ever happened to me in my life and the hardest thing that has ever happened to me in my life. Like even now, I was looking through pictures of her, and like to me, she's still 3, and so I just can't believe the fact that I can't even imagine. CC, your daughter's what, like 21 or something?
22.
22. Sydney's 20.
20.
Yeah.
Like I just can't. I can see that. I'm bearing down on that, and I don't like it. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like it.
Daughters have an effect on you like no other people. I can remember even from my football days, the Vikings had set up something with my family when I caught my 1,000th catch. At the time, only 2 people in the history of football had done it, and they had my family there. So, and I was totally surprised by the whole thing. It happened to be a touchdown, 2 serves, a stop in the action. And, families, congratulations. And my daughter at that time, she had to be like 6, 5. And she's like, Dad, what do you think? And I was like, about what? And I had a little tear coming down my eye. And she's like, my hair, Dad. My hair. so,
come on, Dad. It's about me right now.
Daughters have an effect on you.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Greeny. And it's just now starting.
Yeah. Just put off the dating thing as long as you can, too.
Well, no one will date me. I've tried to date so hard.
I think they're going to stay on scholarship, too, for a long time, too.
We'll see. No one will date me. Well, you said put off the dating. All right, Mike and Mike, we're presented by Progressive. I already said that. Okay, CC is here. Let's start with last night. Really a tale of two situations. The more I thought about the Giants all week long, and this is the first pick I've had right all season, so let's not make me out to be like I've had everything right here. But I watched the 2 Giant games, and I thought to myself, this is a team that's like 4 plays away from being 2-0. I know it feels like the sky is falling because of the manner in which they've lost. You lose, you blow late fourth quarter leads, fans are going to lose their minds. But if you look at who it was that made the big mistakes, he's Eli Manning. He's a veteran, smart, successful, quarterback. He's not going to keep doing that. And I thought to myself, this is a team that's going to turn it around. And I thought last night we saw signs of that, if indeed it even needed to be turned around. CC, your impressions on the Giants?
Either with the talent and the winning tradition and the structure that they have with the Giants, either they get it turned around after those 2 very, very tough losses that they should have won, or it's the team that goes through one of those years and they don't get it turned around. It's Tom Coughlin's last year. So it's not like it had to go one way.
Right.
Like they had to win that game last night. Settling for those field goals early, I thought would hurt them, but it didn't. Kirk Cousins' inability to find people, because this is what I was more impressed with. Forget the Giants. I was really impressed with Gruden's ability to call plays to get guys open. Now, Cousins couldn't hit them, but they were open.
Yep.
And the Washington defense has really played well through 3 games, and they were holding them to those field goals. That fumble, Washington going in, negated the touchdown. That could have been a really close game. So for me, when you're 0-2 and you lose the way you do, and you're playing on a Thursday at home, you have a huge advantage. But, this was a must-win for the Giants. I mean, it was a must-win. And the story is it's different when you have people like Eli tell the running back, don't score.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, don't score. Okay, now, why aren't we scoring?
Right.
It would be good to go up by 10 or more. And then, of course, what happened in Dallas? The mismanagement of the clock, all those things. So getting this win, it really means more than one win.
Going forward, we talk about how, Victor Cruz didn't play in this game. They want to give him that full week of practice to get him ready. Ruben Randall stepped in very nicely. 7 targets, 7 receptions. Odell Beckham had his 7 receptions.
First downs. Every catch he made last night was for a first down.
Both those guys targeted 16 times and had 14 catches between them, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. So when everybody thinks now, when Victor Cruz comes back, oh, my God, what it's going to do to this receiving corps. From the position you played, the position Victor Cruz plays, misses the time because of the patella tendon. Coming back from that, how difficult is that, and what should the expectation be?
I mean, I think Victor's going to be a good player. I don't think he's a Pro Bowl player. I think that automatically, as an analyst or as a fan sometimes, you take a guy from an injury, and regardless of what time period recovery, you put him right back into the status that he was at without him earning it, and especially when you have lowered leg injuries. He's a smaller guy. He's going to have to play in the slot. Now, Ruben Randall, that's the best game he's played in a long, long time. Right. There was a reason why he wasn't playing. Preston Parker was playing in front of him. Preston Parker had 5 drops in the first 2 games. They cut him. So that's why Ruben was inserted. Now, Victor is a great mix with Ruben and Odell because he can play inside better than those guys can. So they do have the potential. But then it comes down to protection, and can they keep a running game going? They're going to be able to throw the football. But can they keep a running game going so that Eli has balance? Because Eli can pick you apart, especially if he has 3 quality receivers.
Let me give you a number here on Odell Beckham Jr., and obviously there's something so special about the kid that you don't need the numbers to tell the story, but he has, by a margin of 14 catches, the most receptions by any player ever in his first 15 games. Anquan Bolden had 96 catches in his first 15 games. Odell Beckham has 110. He also has 14 touchdowns, which is 2 fewer than Randy Moss, who has the record. So he is burst onto the scene insanely well. And all I keep hearing from everybody is he's not that fast. Now, help me with this, CC.
Who said that?
I've heard people say he doesn't have, dynamite speed. Does he have insane speed? Is he insanely fast?
He doesn't have insane speed. He has very good football speed. What he has is he has acceleration and game speed.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is when I watch him, he looks to me like he is playing at a slightly faster pace than anybody else on the field.
Well, you can look
What
at
is that?
You can look at his combine numbers, and he's one of the guys who plays like he runs. Now, there's not a lot of guys like that. Julio Jones is the same way. He plays exactly like he runs. Julio ran a 4.3 at the combine with a broken foot. He plays that fast. Odell has quickness in and out of the route. He has very good long speed. He has great endurance. He has explosive. He has ridiculous hands.
So when we look at receivers of today, the way that offenses play today with the defensive penalties that are being called and the point of emphasis and all that, so the way it is, if you look at 2 receivers, CC, and you say you think they have similar skills, and what we've normally been talking about, the best receivers have been big, and now you have a couple of guys, Odell's 5'11", Antonio Brown's 5'10". Does it matter to you, or do you lean one way toward the other if you're separating skills and they're close by size?
Man, size matters. The only person that ever say size don't matter is a short dude. He's the only guy. I mean, hey man, size don't matter. I mean, it's serious, and it's like me. I was never a fast player. I ran a 4.6. I never known for my speed. So I used to always say, hey, man, speed's overrated. Yeah, because I ain't got it. Yeah. But, I mean, this is a big man's game. Now, what these guys have done is, being a wide receiver is a craft. It's a skill. Now, they have gone on and worked on it. Now, they have a huge advantage because the higher your hip joint is off the ground, the harder it is to accelerate in and out of your break. So guys like Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, Demaryius Thomas, these guys have a hard time. Myself, Michael Irvin, we have to work harder. They're closer to the ground. But also they have vertical leap and they have separation. So they can get into tight coverage and catch the 50-50 ball like smaller guys weren't doing before because they have great ball skills and great explosiveness. But their ability to be able to separate and get off the bump and run, typically a small guy, he would get knocked around a lot. That's why they preferred the bigger guys. But these guys are very, very unique. There haven't been a lot of guys under 6 foot that have dominated the NFL from receiver. Antonio Brown is a very good friend of mine. Odell is a friend of mine. Both of them, I talk to them, text them on a regular basis. But their intrigue with getting better and working at it and going out and getting information is second to none.
I have to tell you, I learned a lot last week. There was a really good feature done on Odell on Sunday Countdown with you guys. I didn't realize that, like, Shaq was like practically his godfather when he was growing up. His dad and Shaq were at LSU at the same time. And, like, Shaquille O'Neal, he calls him Uncle Shaq. I mean, they're that kind of close. I didn't know anything about that.
That's got to be a nice picture of those two next to one.
Yeah, but, I mean, the kid, he's got star power written all over him. Massively. And I personally think the Giants are going to come back and win that division. That's what I think.
Yeah, he has star power written on him. There's one thing that he needs to be careful of. All right? And that's making sure he doesn't celebrate or try to be too dramatic all the time. Because as you start to see in the preseason, people start taking shots at him. People are starting to treat him different. So you have to be a little more professional. And every time you get a first down, you can't get up and drop the ball. Now, me and Michael Irvin, we did a lot of that. But you have to be able to manage that and be a pro. He's already a star. Now it's not a negative, but now I'm just trying to teach him how to be a star. You know, it's 3rd down and 5 in the middle of the field. They throw the ball and get a first down. You're just doing your job. They ain't even going to stand up and clap for you. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do.
Listen, I say it all the time. That linebacker, D lineman that makes a tackle at 2 yards and starts losing their mind, they're like, wait a minute, you're supposed to do that. Let's save the celebration.
So that's the next level of what we're trying to work on, because that mental part for him, especially without Victor Cruz, it becomes important because people are trying to take him out of the game mentally and physically.
Mike and Mike were presented by Progressive Insurance. CC here, his Subway Fresh Take. Joey Galloway still to come from the Giants. Rashad Jennings will join us in our next hour. And if you missed anything earlier today, Jaws had great insight into some of the quarterback questions, Rob Lowe, our celebrity picks, and more. Don't forget the Best of Mike and Mike podcast that's available every single day on ESPNradio.com. All right, Chris, let me tell you what I'm hearing from a lot of frustrated fans in Washington today. They're hearing, in fact, let's play it. Sethi, just tell me in my ear when you have it. Let's play Jay Gruden's assessment last night of his quarterback play. Because I think to the naked eye, Kirk Cousins played a bad game last night. You pointed out he had guys open. Ron Jaworski was talking about how he was staring down receivers. He played a bad game last night in a game that might otherwise have been there with a chance to win. Here was Jay Gruden's assessment of his quarterback last night.
And you go on the road and you play a big division game, a rivalry game like this, turn the ball over 3 times and have a punt blocked. I would say it's going to be very tough to overcome. Now, Kirk was fine. We, like I said, we got to play better around him, and there's no quarterback controversy whatsoever. We got to do some things around him. You know, we can't make this all about the quarterback. We got to create some turnovers on defense. We got to continue to run the ball, and receivers got to make some plays. And Kirk's got to do better. We all got to do better.
So there's Jay Gruden's assessment. I'm hearing from a lot of fans this morning saying this is the same coach who was publicly calling out Robert Griffin for his performance in practice. And now here he is making excuses for Cousins in a very, very big nationally televised game. Is that fair?
He talked out the left side of his mouth, then he talked out the middle, then he talked out the right side. I mean, because Cousins was not good. And to me, I said this last week, it becomes tougher and tougher to tell the truth. Like, I'd love my coach, man. If I stunk, man, Denny Green, he could come to me, he could say it in the media, and he'd know I wouldn't have any problem. You have a team meeting the next day, Buddy Ryan let us know that. He'll call your name out. Hey, Golic, Carter.
Or her.
Hey, no, 92, 53,
hey, there you go.
58,
He'll call your
26.
number out.
Hey, your mom like you? Because I don't like you right now. But, I mean, so, you hear them making excuses. The quarterback didn't play well. Now, to me, they've given up on RG3. That's why he's the third stringer. I can understand the injury clause, but at the end of the day, for the other 52 players, it's supposed to be about winning. Now, last night, their quarterback held them back. Jay and the coordinator, man, they called some plays. They had guys open to make plays. Don't tell me he played okay. He missed them. They got Reed lined up one-on-one on a safety. Oh, my gosh, a rookie. Touchdown.
Are you kidding me? What a touchdown that should have been.
Just throw it. Now, if you put me, I can't go in the center because they might be able to get to me. But if you put me in the shotgun, I can throw that ball in the end zone.
That throws either a touchdown or an incomplete pass. It should be.
At least let him make a play on the ball.
Overthrow.
Don't underthrow him.
Right.
Don't because you can't even get pass interference then. So I see now that they've changed the rules. But what they should have done when they drafted RG3, they shouldn't have made all the news about the quarterback then. So they're trying to learn from their mistakes.
Well, and it sounds hypocritical because he talked about RG3 looking bad in practice and having no problem talking bad about RG3. And that's family business. If he had done this all along and said RG3, everything's fine, even though it wasn't, if he was consistent all along with painting that everything is fine picture, so be it. But he wasn't. And there's going to come a time where you're going to have too many turnovers or too many missed receivers, and you're going to say, you got to do something. This can't be the status quo. Kirk Cousins isn't good enough to just say we're going to live and die with him no matter what. You're going to have to do something.
And actually, I like that. I don't know if Brooksy or Ray typed that on my screen. For those of you who are watching Jay Gruden talk on TV while we were playing that.
Poker tell?
A total tell. A tell. He took off his hat and rubbed his hair while he was saying there's no quarterback controversy.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Absolutely.
I got chips. I'm pushing them in.
Hey, did your head suddenly itch there, Coach?
What do you have? I got nothing, but you got nothing, too.
I'm going to need to see those Kings.
Yeah, I'm going to need to see
all right,
those.
Mike. Joey Galloway's on his way in here. We had an interesting question. By the way, I've got a little trivia for you. A good one from our buddy Hembo. We were talking earlier. He gave us a great stat about the difference between, and not to compare anyone to Aaron Rodgers. No one's doing that. He's the best there is. But just as far as taking care of the football, Ron Jaworski came on and said the biggest problem with Cousins is he doesn't take care of the football. Over the last 2 seasons, Cousins has taken 476 snaps. He has turned the ball over 15 times. In that same stretch of time, Aaron Rodgers has taken 1,054 snaps, more than double, and has turned the ball over 7 times, less than half. So those are the numbers. So did you know, got a good little question for you. There are only 2 qualified quarterbacks in NFL history who have a higher completion percentage than Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers is the 3rd highest completion percentage in NFL history. And I'll tell you in a couple of minutes who the only 2 guys with a higher completion percentage than him are.
One is Steve Young.
One is not Steve Young. I remember a time when Steve Young was the most accurate quarterback in NFL history.
And that QBR thing. When they first came out, he had the highest all-time.
He may have. He was. I do remember. You were right.
Okay.
He had the highest completion percentage. Both of these guys that have surpassed him are more recent than him.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that would be the explanation to that.
Yes.
So we'll get you the answer to that in a minute. But first, I want Golic to ask you the same question that he asked me earlier today. There's a cute story in the notes today. So however many people there were, 31,136 people went to the Padres game yesterday at Petco Park. By the time it ended, there were 31,137. Right. A baby was born at the ballpark last night. First baby ever to be born at Petco Park, according to park officials. There was a great crowd.
Glad
at the
they
game.
keep that stat.
Yeah. They had to make, and apparently,
how many is this?
Someone who works for the team is a nurse and a midwife, and she has delivered like 1,000 children. So they delivered the baby. Everybody saw
everybody
baby
was
born healthy.
Right.
So Golic, ask him the question that you asked me.
If you forgetting a situation like this, because someone who has experience can come over and help. If you're in an elevator, you and a pregnant woman, and that she goes into labor in that elevator, I'm throwing the worst case scenario at you. That elevator ain't moving, and she's going to give birth. You obviously are delivering the child, are you not? You have to, right? Greeny's talking about fainting.
Well, I mean, how are you? What exactly goes into delivering a child?
I would say when the child's coming out, making sure the child doesn't fall on the floor, number one.
I suppose I could.
I don't know all the intricacies, but I sure as heck am going to be there to try and do what I can.
I'm going to have to deliver that baby.
Yeah,
I'm going to take my shirt off, lay it on the ground, make sure it's sanitary, hold her hand, try to talk her through it. I'm praying, talking to God, to him to intervene right now.
Yeah. Please, God, get this elevator to move.
Right now. But I'm trying.
But you can hold her hand all you want. You got to be down there delivering that baby.
No, I understand. No, I'm not picturing all that. I need to be in the moment. I can't tell you what I'm gonna do right now, but I'm gonna do the right thing.
Right. There you go. That's what
Yeah,
any person would do.
Can I admit a terrible thing?
Yeah.
When you said you would take your shirt off, I initially thought you meant so that it wouldn't get ruined. I initially thought, listen, I can't get the shirt ruined.
You're such a diva.
This is a very nice shirt.
You know, dry cleaning won't even help this.
I told you. I think I've told you this story.
You can't lay the woman down the elevator floor. That floor
What are
is
you
nasty.
doing?
Well,
I mean, this world's nasty. I got to bring the kid into a clean world.
Here's what I might do. I would clean the floor. I would definitely clean the floor.
And then what? Say I clean the floor.
Listen, at least I clean the floor.
You're on your own now.
Here's the thing.
Come on, Greenie.
I was a...
Yogi just died. Get over in the corner and batter, bam.
Yeah, I was a production assistant at WMAQ Radio in Chicago, which no longer exists. I was the lowest person on the totem pole in the room, and our news editor, a woman named Helen Marshall, went into labor in the newsroom. And the news director looked up at me and said, Greenfield, because he didn't know my name. Right. You take her to the hospital. So we're downtown Chicago. I said, okay. We go running down to my car. She was in my car. She's
okay.
in the front seat.
Right.
I say, which hospital are we going to? She says, Evanston. Now, for those of you who know Chicago, that's in the suburbs.
Yes, it is.
This was like 5 o'clock. This is in that traffic. That's a good hour at minimum.
Yeah.
And we drove the entire way, and she's holding my hand, and I'm not a religious person, but I'm praying. Please don't let anything happen in this car that I have to manage. And she still sends me a card every now and again. The baby is not babies. Like this is like 25 years ago.
Wow.
She wound up having a boy.
Yeah. My wife went into labor early morning, like 4 or 5 in the morning. We were in the suburbs in Columbus, right after I had left Philadelphia, and we had already made arrangements. He's in Ohio State Hospital. It's one of the best in the world. We got it hooked up. We're in Westerville, though. We're in the suburbs. She goes in the way. Man, I'm driving, and she is cursing me out. Forget Ohio State. I went to school there. We went by 5 hospitals.
Yeah. Just get me to one so I can push.
Oh, my goodness. She was so upset with me by the time we did get there, and we got a suite that was overlooking the stadium. So my son, Deron, was born Ohio State Hospital in a nice suite.
And that was important to you. She could give it a darn, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, the Ohio State thing, you can't.
Okay. By the way, Cece, you were correct. When Steve Young retired after the 99 season, he did own the best completion percentage in NFL history. But he has been surpassed by at least 3 people. Aaron Rodgers is third.
Drew Brees.
There are 2 ahead of him. I will give you the answer right after this word from Regis. Like, where do more than 2 million people go each day to do their best work? Here's where they go. They go to Regis.
Yep, the world's largest workspace provider, beautifully designed, tech-powered offices, co-working spaces with full administrative support. Whether you need to expand locally, nationally, or globally, Regis has a solution with 3,000 locations worldwide. They make it easy for companies large and small to find new space for their business to expand into new markets. All it takes is a call to 1-800-OFFICES to get up and running fast without the hassle. They manage the details for you so you can focus on your business. Call today. You can be working tomorrow, short-term, long-term, all on your terms. Call 1-800-OFFICES today. Let them help you find the workspace solution that's right for your company. Join the 2 million people who have found a better way to work by free office or meeting room for a day when you call 1-800-OFFICES. Regis, here to help you grow. We're back after this, Mike and Mike.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
Giants beat Washington 32-21 last night to kick off Week 3. Both teams now 1-2. Eli throws a couple touchdowns. Kirk Cousins struggled. We're talking football all morning here with you. D'Angelo Hall, meanwhile, sprained a right toe, will have an MRI. Those toes can sometimes be really significant long-term injuries. And congratulations to the Kansas City Royals and the fans in that town. They break a 30-year drought. They win their first division title since 1985. And SportsCenter with Mike and Mike is brought to you by Sport Clips.
You watch sports, we cut hair. It's perfect. Visit Sport Clips and ask for the relaxing MVP experience, massaging shampoo, hot steam towel, and a great haircut. Sport Clips, good to be a guy.
CC had it right. Before we bring Joey into the conversation, only 2 qualified quarterbacks in history have a higher completion percentage than Aaron Rodgers. One of them, and actually he's number 1 all time, is Drew Brees.
Yep.
Drew Brees with a completion percentage of 66.2. The other one, who is actually tied with Rodgers on the list, he's just like a thousandth of a point ahead of him. Care to take a guess?
The way you're saying that, it's like we're not going to get it.
Well, I have a wry smile on my face for a different reason.
Chad Pennington?
Chad Pennington. Chadwick Pennington.
Because he could only throw the ball 5 yards downfield. Oh, that... I apologize.
Not
Chad
nice.
Came on our show when we were out there. That was a cheap shot. I admit it.
Yes, you should be shunned.
Yeah.
Chris Carter is here, and so is his longtime Ohio State running mate, our own Joey Galloway, who's in our studio, who deserves props, and I gave it to him on Twitter this weekend. You were the only person I know who picked Notre Dame to beat Georgia Tech last week.
Did I almost talk you out of it?
Yeah, you were
on
scared.
there? I was.
You were
really
a professional
negative.
It was.
The only problem was I was really bad on the weekend. I also picked Boston College. I also stuck in there with Auburn. But so I needed Notre Dame. You know what I mean? I needed them to win, and they came through for me.
They did. That defense, fantastic.
And you got it, but when you needed it. I was just asking you off the air before we start going through some of this stuff. If you right now were to run a 40-yard dash, if we just set up a 40-yard dash for you right now, how fast could you run?
Fast.
Right now, this minute, not very good, because what I have found in my old age is that traveling kills me. Like, getting on airplanes kills me. Before this, I actually did run this offseason. I trained, and then I messed around, and I took a couple trips, and then I did one on film with the electronic timer on it, and it was a 4.31. The reason I didn't put it out there was it didn't look good. Like my running motion didn't look good in the last 10 yards because I had started traveling. That's where I realized I can't travel and still run.
How much can you bench press?
Bench press, I don't go above 315 now. Like, I don't.
Me neither.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I don't.
Joe, how
Idiot.
much did you used to lift? 400.
But that was back in the day. And
how
now
much did you weigh?
You start 195.
Strong kid. Wow.
He's just a freakish athlete.
If you call him a kid again, he's getting ready to bench press you.
Oh, kid. I mean, I'm being nice because I'm older. I was going to ask what's first to happen. You run a 4.4 or pull a hammy.
I mean,
No.
That was one of the things. After I left Ohio State, Joey came after I left Ohio State, and I was playing the pros. And it kind of really started us having a lot of receivers starting to come to Ohio State. And I could see how good he was. The weight coach was like, man, you're not going to believe this kid. And I was like, stop. No, he can run a 4.2. I was like, come on now, stop. No, he bench presses 400 pounds. I said, now stop. I see him playing. I can see he's a great player. But the stories off the field,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
$4 bills for a wide receiver.
All right, let's get into something before I start sweating out here.
Okay, very good. Joey, he does not like for us to be complimenting him in this way. If you ever said anything like this about me, I'd be delirious.
I would say, which is stunning for a wide receiver. I mean, normally they're saying that about
doesn't feel good. What do we got? You got some topics, and what we got?
I got topics. Okay, let's start before we get to you guys in Alabama, because they still, in Ohio State, they won. They didn't look real good, but they won. That's the game a lot of teams lose, and they didn't. Let's start with Alabama. One of the narratives coming out of that game against Mississippi that you heard from some places was, this is the end. I saw someone write, if it isn't the end of the Nick Saban era at Alabama, you can see it from here. Is that being overstated, or are we seeing a significant return to the pack right now of what has been the preeminent program for the last 8 to 10 years?
I think they're coming back to the pack. I think it has a lot to do with recruiting. And I think that there's a couple areas where Nick has not been successful at other positions. Number one is quarterback. Yep. They have really missed or under-recruited, misanalyzed, because they spend so much money in tape and watching young kids play that they have really missed on a lot of quarterbacks. They have settled for managers of a football game compared to stars. 5 stars, like everybody else, you got to be a 4.5 to 5-star to even get a letter from them. But their quarterbacks, they're settling for game managers, so they don't have playmakers. Also with the wide receiver, they got Julio, All right? Then they got Amari. Now, Amari left Miami to go to them. He slipped to them. So besides that, who are the playmakers they have besides their tailbacks? Now, they're going to always have 2 or 3 big tailbacks because you're in the South. You want to go to Alabama and run the ball. But for me, those are the things that have tripped Nick up a little bit. And I would say the third thing is the hurry-up offense. Because he can't control the game with his defense, and he does not like the hurry-up offense.
Yeah, but who is the pack, though? When you say coming back to the pack, who is the pack? Because until somebody consistently comes out of the SEC besides Alabama, I can't say that they're coming back to the pack. Now, they may lose a game along the way. They lost one last year to Ole Miss. That's why it's such a surprise Ole Miss beat them again.
Right.
But can Ole Miss sustain it? Can Mississippi State sustain it? And that's when, to me, you start talking about coming back to the pack. Because right now, Alabama, they lost everything on the offensive side of the ball. The quarterback, Amari Cooper, running back, free offensive, and they came out ranked number 3 in the country to begin this. And I said at the time, there is no other team in the country that could lose what they lost and come out as number 3 in the preseason. They're going to be a good football team. I agree. Quarterback play right now is despicable. It was in the spring last year. Blake Sims made an improvement from spring to the season, become a functional quarterback. And with Alabama, if they get a functional quarterback, not they had to be great. If they get a functional guy, then they'll be fine.
The one issue I have, though, is the 2 things you could always count on with Nick Saban, the running back and the defense. Yes. And their defense is giving up points and big plays. To me, that's almost as big a worry as anything else. And I do think the hurry-up offense has something to do with that. But that's been their staple has been a front 7 and don't give up big plays, and that's changing.
And people have sold that front 7 as a great front. I have no clue why. Nobody is disruptive. They don't have a guy.
Could be reputation.
They have guys that'll be. You're absolutely. They have guys that'll be better in the NFL. Reed and Robinson on the inside, 300-pound guys that you can't move. NFL type guys. But when these spread offenses come in, they run around those guys. It doesn't matter. They stand in the middle. They clog it up, and you could see it. Ole Miss got to the goal line and they tried to run through the middle like 3 times. Couldn't get an inch. And then what they do? They ran that little sweep play, and the guy walked into the end zone.
I'm just Alabama. The perception has changed because we were on the show, and before the national championship game, Golic, your son was
right.
I mean, they had 20 NFL players.
Yeah, they did.
Yep.
And very, very intimidating. Compared to last year playing the semifinals against Ohio State, we were getting ready to do that game. We felt a lot more confident because it's not as if Alabama's come back to the pack. They're just not as talented. You know, this is a different Alabama team. And a comment on your struggle with the defensive back, look at the guys they've had their last 4 or 5 years. D. Milner,
right?
Dre Kirkpatrick, Mark Barron,
Clinton Dix.
All these guys except Clinton Dix have struggled in pro football.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, they've struggled in pro. They got pros out there playing, but when they transferred over to the pro game, they weren't, quite as good.
Let's keep Joey here. By the way, if you did run a 4.31 at the age of 43, that would have been the second fastest 40 time at the Combine this season of any drafted player. Only Miami's J.J. Nelson ran faster.
Would you
Joey
go
Galloway
so far
is fast.
as to say, Joey, that you could still play in the NFL like Herschel Walker said he could?
No. I don't want to. If I even think of getting tackled, my stomach hurts.
Isn't that a horrific feeling to try to play at our age, to go back and do that? Oh,
man, I know a lot of guys weren't good when they were young.
We'll keep Joey here. Much more on this. We'll go to Ohio State and their quarterback decision that they made all around the world of college, and Rashad Jennings of the Giants, who win last night. He's going to join us live as well. That's on the way, but right now a word from La Quinta. Mike, when running backs fly through the defense like they were standing still, they call it kicking in the afterburner.
La Quinta Inns and Suites gives you that kind of speed with their free Wi-Fi network that's now up to 5 times faster than before, so business travelers can fly through presentations, downloads, and web conferences at the speed of La Quinta. Free Wi-Fi now up to 5 times faster than before. La Quinta takes care of you so you can take care of business faster. Book your next stay at LQ.com. We're back after this, Mike and Mike.
Even the heartiest appetites are no match for the Subway steak and cheese. Subway, eat fresh.
only 2 qualified quarterbacks in history have a higher completion percentage than Aaron Rodgers. One of them is Drew Brees.
Yep.
The other one, who is actually tied with Rodgers, care to take a guess?
The way you're saying that, it's like we're not going to get it.
I have a wry smile on my face for a different reason.
Chad Pennington?
Chadwick Pennington.
Because he could only throw the ball 5 yards downfield.
Not nice.
I apologize for it. It's a cheap shot.
Sports Center brought to you by Grasshopper. Turn the world into your office with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Get a local or toll-free number or bring your own. You can even have your voicemails transcribed and emailed to you. See how it works at grasshopper.com, the entrepreneur's phone system. I'm just looking here. Michael David Smith, who works at Pro Football Talk, has tweeted a couple of things about Kirk Cousins. Let me give you some numbers. Kirk Cousins, 21 career touchdowns, 23 interceptions. Blaine Gabbert, 23 touchdowns and 24 interceptions. Kirk Cousins, 23 interceptions in 514 attempts. Jamarcus Russell, 23 interceptions in 680 attempts. I mean, the numbers are bad. Historically bad. And, you know, so I think that's where a lot of people look at the situation and they say, this is the guy they chose over the franchise savior. And yet the savior is still there, and it's just it's such a dysfunction.
And you know what? It's going to get uglier before it gets better. It's just a matter of what direction they choose to go, since there absolutely seems to be a headbutting between ownership and coaches.
Yeah, RG3, though, he seemed pretty comfortable to me. I sit over there and get that $3.2 million. Hey, man, y'all go ahead and fight it. Hey, y'all, the guy make a good play, the camera's on me. Hey, good job. Good job. So they're not saying I'm not a good team.
Right.
Let me go sit back.
Because they tried to say that. They tried to say he and Cousins didn't speak. They couldn't be in the same room together.
That's tough, though.
Yeah.
You're a young man that has come in, and they expect you had the first season that you had. It's easier for us older guys to say, hey, stand on the sideline and clap. But, man, if you're a young man and you're coming in,
because we got a chance to play.
Yeah, because now we can look back and say it. But if you're that young kid coming in and you want to make a name for yourself and prove that, you know, you was worthy of the number 2 pick, that's a tough situation.
I agree. I got to believe you're a little embarrassed saying I'm the number 2 pick. They traded all these people for me. I had such a great first year, and here I am, healthy and in street clothes.
And this is the thing. He's doing everything off the field and working on it to try to get better. Like, he had a very good offseason. It is tough,
though, and you know, when you come into the league and you have all this ability and not much smarts, then you gradually, the ability goes down, but your smarts go up.
Yes.
And you gradually get to a place where you can operate well in that situation. In his case, he has a great first year. He gets the injuries. Now, all of a sudden, he has to change his game after 1 year of being in the NFL. Not that gradual, I've learned how to play. Now it's that automatic, I got to change and be different in my second year. That is a tough, that people don't understand. Right. People understand how hard that is to make that transition.
I think Phil Simms said it great last night during the telecast. He said that, yes, he was offensive rookie of the year in that season, but that offense that he ran, that Shanahan developed for him, that offense doesn't exist in the NFL.
Not for long, anyhow.
Well,
if you want to play for more than a couple years,
no one else is running that.
Right.
So, you know, his blueprint for success is not available.
So, Joey, let's get some college in here. Not a great slate, but a Pac-12 week, no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
really
Stanford, my early pick for a Final Four, jumped back into this thing with a big win against USC. So now USC going to Arizona State, who's looking to jump back in this thing after their Week 1 loss as well. But USC was a big pick of a lot of people to be in the Final Four. Could they have 2 losses after this weekend going to Arizona State?
I think USC wins. And let me just say that me and Greeny look at that Stanford jumping back in a little different. We look at that as in that just goes to show you how good Northwestern really is.
Yes. Why would we say that? Listen, Stanford went
perk up and sit up in his seat.
No, stand by. Stanford went into USC and scored 41 points.
Yeah.
In Evanston, they scored 6. Yeah. I mean, the numbers don't lie.
You're right. It's the greatest defense of all time. I'm with you.
Yeah, I agree. USC wins. USC will be fine. They will be fine. They'll get back in. They'll win. The team that I'm interested to see is Arizona. Yeah. The Arizona-UCLA game. Now that Miles Jack is out for UCLA.
They've already lost their big D lineman there.
Rosen he's been looking very average the past 2 weeks. Arizona, and their offense at Arizona, their offensive linemen fire out on every play. pass or run, they fire out. And I'm sitting there and watching this, and it's you remember they used to tell the defensive backs, go ahead and grab and hold, because they won't call it every play. They might call one, but we're going to grab and hold on every play. The Chiefs used to do it all the time. We're not going to call everyone. The offensive line for Arizona is downfield every single pass, and they're not calling it. So you can't read it as a defense. I'm looking forward to seeing Arizona. They could be the team. I was on UCLA. Now, because I stayed on Auburn too long, now I'm scared. If a team shows a little hint of something going wrong, I'm off. It
might be that type of season, though. We're a team with 1 loss, 2 losses. Because even with Ohio State being at the top, we know that's not an assured thing for the whole season.
No.
You're talking about the Pac-12 is a conference that may have a 2-loss team that could possibly get in.
Yes.
And a lot of people talking, will Scooby Wright be back? He's questionable. While he may be back, I think that may be more of an emotional leadership lift, because it's tough to expect him to come back in this short a time and be that 100% productive.
Well, they
he
need
normally
him.
Is.
If he is back and could put pressure on Rosen under pressure last week looked like a freshman. He looked like a young guy that just didn't know what to do.
Mike and Mike, CC, and Joey Galloway are here, so let me circle back while I have you. Ohio State makes the big decision this week. It appears now it will be Cardale Jones' job with a little bit more security. Now, exactly what that means, I suppose, remains to be seen. Joey, do you think he made the right choice?
He made the right choice if he believes he made the right choice to begin with. He was the starter coming in. So the body of work, the 3 games last season, the spring, the summer, fall camp comes in, and Cardale Jones is your starter, then to make the choice to change that now would just be willing to say that I was completely wrong all summer long. You know, J.T. Barrett did not do anything in this last game to take away the starting position from Cardale. And I've said, if you were to not look at who was playing quarterback last game, you wouldn't know that they had changed guys. You know, nothing looked different. You know, everything looks a little out of sorts right now. They're sort of sleepwalking through this thing. And, you know, as you studied the film, there were interceptions thrown by Cardale, and then JT threw one. JT threw some balls into some bad situations. It was just ugly. Offensively, they look like they're sleepwalking right now.
Northern Illinois is very physical.
They're a good team.
Really talented, well coached.
CC, cut it out.
Well, okay.
Cut that out.
Buckeyes were sleeping, too.
Thank you.
From my homie.
You definitely have to lean more toward that.
But Ohio State's biggest problem is they're so talented. Now, they had a lot of guys suspended for week number 1. So those guys weren't practicing. So Cardale was able to get in sync with the other receivers. Now they have all these other guys they're trying to play. It's hard to get in sync with 6 receivers compared to 3.
We'll continue that discussion. We're going to let Joey go. Thanks so much for coming by. Good to see you, as always.
Appreciate it.
We'll continue to talk about this, and Rashad Jennings is on the way. Rashad Jennings of the Giants. They ran it a little bit last night. They threw it a lot, and they got their first win of the season. He'll join us live to talk about it next, right here, Football Friday with Mike and Mike.
Football's back, and it already feels like the playoffs thanks to 1 Week Fantasy at DraftKings.com. With millions of dollars in prizes being paid out each week, every play in every game could take you closer to a life-changing payday. Hurry to DraftKings.com now. Use promo code REPLAY and play for free with your first deposit in this Sunday's $1 million fantasy contest. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. Enter REPLAY for free entry now, only at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
And now, for Geico's edition of Stuff Found in Your Car, we go inside your side door pocket.
Hello, yes, the crumpled receipt with gum in it. From your anniversary dinner, you sprang for expensive wine, your server was Beth. That dinner was a couple $100. Money you could get back if you switched to Geico and saved hundreds of dollars on your car insurance. I bet you'd save that receipt. Frame it even. But really, where did I go wrong? Was it the corkage fee?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com today.
The Pirates and Cardinals have the best 2 records in baseball, and they go head-to-head one final time this regular season. Could this be a preview of next week's division series? Coverage begins Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio.